Hey, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday carry people. It's the Big Canucker here, and I was away here for a little bit. Got myself a little bit sick with the flu. The wife brought home a flu, and man, it was a real bad one. It was not the coronavirus. Tests were made, negative tests were given, so thank goodness for that. I'm really quite happy that neither one of us had picked up that horrible disease. Blessings go to those who have had it and those who have lost loved ones. It was quite a scare in this family. All right, so I've been away for a little bit, and just gonna kind of come back here with a little bit of a knife review on this little bugger right here. This here is the IZULA 2 by ESEE Knives, and what a fantastic little knife. This rig here was donated to the channel by an absolute gentleman, Mr. Anderson. I've mentioned him on the channel before. I got to call him Neo because I keep on calling him Mr. Anderson. And he says, "Call me Neo." He's from Maryland in the States, and I have to say thank you so much, sir. This has been a wonderful rig. The rig consists of an ESEE 6 and the ESEE IZULA 2. There's also a ferrocerium rod that goes here. This is a tiny bit loose, so I'm going to kind of get that fixed up so it'll hold that ferrocerium rod. Now this sheath here is a custom-made sheath that he had built for him. He was going to send me the lady's name, but obviously it must have slipped his mind. Hey, no big deal. If I can eventually get that from you, sir, I will give this lady a shout out because this is a fantastic, well-made rig. And it's great. And now I haven't had a chance due to my wounding, my injury, which is not getting better. Damn it, I'm so frustrated. But I haven't had a chance to do any hiking really, or kind of any backwoods bushcrafting. But I still had some work to do around the house, a bunch of gardening. I want to take out all my flowers and stuff. You know, I never ever thought that I would say that like 15, 20 years ago. Hey, I gotta take my flowers out before the first frost hits in my garden. I never would have thought I would say that. And if you knew me, I was a long-haired, rough-riding bastard who, you know what, if I had a few drinks in me, I was either going to fuck or fight, and sometimes the same person. So it was, anyways, I ended up doing some gardening with this, and I want to get kind of a feel for the knife, do some chopping. I've got some bushes I want to chop down, and I gotta say the ESEE 6 is it's a beast, and it's something that if you're gonna be wanting out in a survival knife, this is something for you. Now, I never gave much thought to having like a two-rig system. You know, I always carried, a kind of a big fixed blade knife when I was out bushcrafting, but I always had a small folder in my pocket. And but this is extremely handy having this on the side here. While I was doing all my my work that day, I mean, anytime I had to, I had to cut open some bundles of these paper bags that you put all your waste in that goes to the recycling depot. So, I rather than reach for this big knife, it was so handy off the side. I'd take it off, give it a little cut, put it in. And I think, you know what, I might decide to try and do a little more everyday carry with some smaller fixed blades, because this was handy as hell. And what a great little knife this is too as well. This IZULA 2 is a fantastic little blade, great ergonomics, and it's got some good jimping on it. I've got some big hands, so it just seems to be the right size to do your small kind of bushcrafting with. Now, if you're going to be say making a deadfall trap, or you're going to be carving the tip of some tent pegs, or you're going to make yourself a fire bow or stuff like that, this little knife is so handy to have with it. Now, the more knives and the more edge that you could have in a survival situation, the better, because especially if you do not have a way to sharpen them. I mean, sometimes you'll want to maybe use this small knife if it's going to be you know, dulled and keep your big knife you know, super sharp. So there's something there to be said for that too as well. I think what I might end up doing with this is, you know, I'll get the ferrocerium rod, and then I will find a way to incorporate a nice little sharpening stone with this too as well, so I can have a complete little system. So if I'm out and about and hacking up something and I want to put an edge back on it, I'll figure something out there for sure. But let's get on with the review of this little bugger here. Let's see, the IZULA 2. And now the IZULA is actually an ant, and I guess it's a damn tough ant, and it's an ant that has quite a sting or a bite. So I think that's the other name for what's called a bullet ant. Now, there's a thing called the Schmidt Pain Index, and it rates the scales of stings. And I do believe the bullet ant, up until recently, has been the #1, the most painful insect sting that you can ever go through. And there's some crazy bastards down in the Amazon who put these ants in a little glove made out of these kind of reeds and stuff, like these leaves, and so they end up having this little smoke that they make out of this other tree that's got some medicinal properties that'll knock these ants out and calm them down. So they calm them all down, they put them inside this little gloves, and then they slip your hand inside there and they wake these ants up and they sting you like crazy. And these poor buggers will have to basically dance, and they're in so much pain that they're being put into a state that that's almost like a fugue state. I guess it's you're entering another realm. I guess you've got so much pain, and they got to go through that a half a dozen or a dozen times before they're considered a man. You know what? There's a lot of tough bastards in the Amazon that I think you sting me once though, and I'm good enough. But anyways, let's get on with this this knife. It's a fantastic little knife. Overall, 6.75 inches, just a smidge under 7 inches. Now your blade length is 2.63 inches, and your thickness is 0.156 or 4 millimeters. You've also got a 1095 carbon steel, and you've also got a protectant over top of it, because 1095 is not a stainless steel. It's something you got to look after, otherwise it's going to rust and corrode. And this is pretty darn tough material what they have over top of this. Now, it's this black oxide. It's really, really tough. Now the blade itself is 55 to 57 Rockwell. Now 1095 is a high carbon steel, and it's known for taking a really fine edge. Like, I mean, you can get this scalpel sharp. Now, it's not going to hold the edge as long as some of the super steels out there, like, you know, the S30V or the, S110V, you know, ZDP 189. I mean, that's not what that's for. 1095 is a steel that's extremely strong and extremely tough, that takes a lot of, shock to it. You know, you can get in and you can pry. And I mean, your knives are never supposed to be pry bars, but 1095 can take a beating and, come back and ask for more. That's the one thing you want about the 1085. And at the 55 to 57 Rockwell, you're giving up a little bit of edge holding, but you're gaining ease of sharpeniness and toughness too as well, all right? So now you got a fully flat ground blade. Now the sheath that comes with this, which I do not have, is, I do believe, a molded sheath. And there is, I mean, having a look on the website, there is all sorts of other sheaths that are available for this. Black molded sheath, you can get a coyote brown molded sheath, OD molded sheath, white molded sheath. You can get all sorts of things for this. A molly. So it just depends how you want to dress it up. How I got it here is I got it with this custom sheath, and it's the secondary blade in this 2-blade system. Okay. All right. Let's continue on here with specs. So of course you've got your carabiner hole in the back. Now your handles here are canvas micarta. One of the great things about canvas micarta is not only is it tough and it takes the elements, the hot and the cold, it also, as it gets wet, it gets more grippy too as well. So if you're dealing with any sort of rain type of stuff or in the water, you know, canvas micarta is a really, really good way to go. Now, would I recommend this knife? Absolutely. I think this is a great little, I mean, it might be a tiny bit big for a neck knife, but still, I think doable. It's definitely a doable for an everyday carry fixed blade knife. I think it, you know, if you get the right kind of sheath for it, you know, you can hide it up really nice. You know, even like a sideways carry as a secondary, you know, belt buckle knife. I think it's, you know, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic knife here. And I have to thank you so much for sending it my way. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful fixed blade knife, and something you definitely want to put in your collection. All right, so that's my little review here of this IZULA 2 knife. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give me the thumbs up as well as the subscription. I thank you guys so much. Even though I was away here for a little bit, there were still lots of people subscribing, and for those guys and all you guys out there who watched while I was away, thank you so much. I am feeling much better with my cold here, and I do appreciate it a lot. So please, like I said, thumbs up, subscribe. Now, I want you guys out there to please take care, stay safe, listen to the experts, because we're not out of this big old pandemic yet. There's still lots to go. So keep your shiny side up, your stick on the ice. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.